Peter here with Legally Speaking. You know, in 32 some odd years of practice of law, I have seen a lot of people in my years find themselves in legal predicaments that they didn't really need to be in had they done maybe some careful planning or thinking ahead. And the point of our channel is to go through some of those things with the folks and help you to be able to prepare for and watch out for some legal pitfalls that you can avoid with just some careful planning and thinking. The easiest things that you can take care of at any time in your life, if you haven't done it yet, is to have a will in place. A lot of people, especially when they're young, they don't really want to think of their passing eventually as a reality in their life. But for all of us, you know, the statistics are still the same. 1 out of 1 every people dies. And so it's something we have to be prepared for. And having a will in place is really important, because if you don't, then somebody other than you is going to be able to make the decisions for what happens with your things. And one of the best ways that you can show love and care for the people who are closest to you is to be able to plan ahead and have things in place for your inevitable passing. And why is this important? Well, see, if you don't have a will in place, then when you die, it's called dying intestate, which means that you don't have in place any kind of instructions as to what's supposed to happen with your stuff. And so the state or somebody else is going to be able to make those decisions for you that you could have made while you were still alive. So that's a really important thing. Another reason this is important is because the ones that you love, the people that you are closest to, would love to know that you thought enough about them and cared enough about them to put things in place and get things in order so that people aren't squabbling or fighting after you're gone. It's amazing to me how you know, when people don't plan ahead and they don't have a will in place, then their family members are left to wonder, what did this person want to do with their things? And people who you may not want to have gotten certain things will get them, or people that you wanted to have certain things may not get them. So it's really important to do that, especially if you're a young family, you have a husband or wife, kids, you have a business that you're trying to grow. Very important. It's also really important if you own a home. A power of attorney for healthcare decisions is really important. For example, if you're in an accident or something like that and you're in the hospital, it's good to have that in place already. It's written up, you've signed it, and it tells doctors you know, what it is that you'd like to have happen. In other words, if it's a severe accident or you have a bad disease or something like that, you can tell the doctors if you want prolonging life treatments or things like that. Some of the most horrific family squabbles that I've seen in 32 years of practice come when family members fight over what's going to happen with the parent, for example, who's in the hospital. Some people say, well, I know they told me that they didn't want to have life-saving measures, and others say, well, no, you know, it's important that we do everything we can to prolong their life. And you can have all of that in place before you're in a situation where it's going to be necessary. Now, one of the most important things of having a will in place is to make sure it's valid. Now, in the state where I live, what's required is that there are 2 people who do not take under your will. In other words, they're not named as a beneficiary or somebody who would get something in your will when you die. 2 people who are in that category have to sign on that. And another thing you can do is have it notarized. The whole point is to make sure that you are the person who's signing this will. Because if there's a will contest later, which means that if people want to fight about, did my mom or my dad really say this? Did they really put this in writing and say what they said in this piece of paper? Those witnesses, if they're still alive at the time, they can come and say, yes, I was there when they signed that. The notary is notarizing and putting on there with their seal that you identified yourself with some sort of valid identifications, a passport, a driver's license, whatever else like that, that you are the person signing that will. So it makes it a lot harder for somebody to come later and try to contest that or fight about it and say, no, I know that that's not what they wanted. Now, the good thing about all of this is that once you have that will in place, then you can just move on. You put that with your important papers somewhere where it's not going to be lost or destroyed. and then you just move on because you know and you have some peace of mind that it's in place. Now, a very important part of all of this is life insurance. If you don't have any life insurance, you want to make sure that you look into that so that your family members are protected if something happens to you, and then they can have money. If they're the primary earning person in your home, you can make sure that your loved ones have some money to get by with the life insurance proceeds. So make sure you look into that and talk with a good life insurance broker or somebody like that. Now, how do you go about preparing a will? Well, probably the best way to do that is to have an attorney assist you with that. I know that that can cost money and not everybody has money. And there are ways that you can put together a real and valid will that aren't going to cost you a lot of money. There are forms that you can get. You can do some research online, especially where you live, to make sure that however it is that you put your will together is going to stand up and it's going to be valid and it's going to be something that's recognized. So make sure that you do that and just do a little bit of research and get yourself prepared. One of the most important aspects of having a will in place is especially if you have children. Because you want to be able to be the one who decides who gets to take care of your kids, who gets to raise your kids. And so you want to make sure that that is especially in place. I know that there are folks that I've known in my life who have, once they've passed, they didn't have a will in place, and there was some aunt or uncle or whoever else that maybe was not the most responsible person who, because they were the next of kin, were the ones who ended up taking care of those kids. And that may have been the one thing that the parents never wanted to have happen. So that is something you want to absolutely make sure is nailed down and in place. And then lastly, to dispel any rumor. Just because you put a will, if you own assets or a home, or demise to come any sooner. I know sometimes, especially younger people, don't want to talk about or think about these things because they think if they do, it's going to bring about their death sooner. Of course, that's not true. It's just being prepared. It's like anything else where you prepare. I remember years ago when I first started practicing law, actually I wasn't even in practice yet, I was a law clerk, and I worked for a guy who was a really terrific lawyer, smart guy. And I was helping him in a mediation, which is a informal proceeding where all the parties to a lawsuit get together and they try to hammer out their differences and settle the case. And he once said to me, "You know what, Peter? You don't have to be the smartest attorney. You don't even have to be the best attorney. You just have to be the best prepared." And that wins cases in a lot of instances. So it's the same thing with this. I mean, you just have to be prepared for things in life where you can make a difference, where you can think of your loved ones ahead of time, your kids, your family members, and you can have things in place that you wanted to have happen. And one of those things is how it is that you want your remains taken care of. Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? All of that. You can set all of that in place as well. You can even pre-purchase services for those things so that those are in place and your family members don't have to do anything but go to your papers and follow the instructions. So these are some ideas on how to be prepared for one of life's inevitabilities that we all have to prepare for and face and plan for. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for watching. Check in here often for other videos. I'm going to be exploring other legal topics and such that are important to common folks like all of us. If you found this video helpful, then go ahead and click the like and subscribe button. And I think there's a notification button too that you can click on so that you can be notified when we upload some new videos. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions or comments for me, please drop that in the comment section below and let me know if there's a topic you'd like to discuss.